Detective Harding, when he's interviewing the kid who Mike coaches for boxing, and he's like, how do you know Mike? And he's like, well, he's my coach for boxing, kind of like a community, like a Big Brother thing for kids who don't have dads. And that you can see that in his face. And he's like, oh shit, like he's a good guy.
Yeah. That's why I was pretty bummed when they took him out of the house, when the cops took him out of the house and then threw him in the back of the car and then just set him up and shit.
Yeah.
Liam Neeson was trying to tell him, like, it's a waste of time. Like, the cops are on their side, especially because if you guys notice, it's the same two cops that were in the beginning getting money from him in the beginning. So it's like, they're literally in his pocket.
And I think that they're probably pissed more too, because that's like now they're not getting paid.
Yeah, and everything would be exposed and all kinds of bad shit, dude. So I get it.
I like how the fact that Jimmy's kind of, I think we kind of touched on it a little bit, but Jimmy's character was kind of seen as just kind of an old gangster guy that nobody really cares about. I think a couple of guys even said, like, if you died, no one would care. Like, why are you still around? Like, why do they keep you? Or even Danny even says, why does my dad keep you around? And then you find out, when it comes to trying to save Mike, he's fucking unstoppable, pretty much.
Yeah, he's like his right-hand man. I like the chemistry and the history that they kind of touch upon between Jimmy and
Sean.
Yeah, and Sean.
Yeah, that's what makes that their whole dynamic so much stronger, and it's so crazy to watch that kind of deteriorate as the movie goes on.
I actually like that story better than what's happening with the sons. Like I like the story of them being old mob bosses, you know what I'm saying? And then kind of like having to live by the code and take each other out. That's what he said. When we get to that place, we're going to cross it together.
Yeah, the dining scene, dude. That was a really good scene.
That shit got to me a little bit.
I like how they talk about too, like, oh, like this place looks different. He's like, all the old places look different.
Yeah,
that's funny. Like, it's still relatable now. Like, even when you go to places when you were a kid. But,
it kind of shows you that they had a lot of history in that fucking town. And he even says, he's like, you think there's a CIA agent listening to us? Nobody gives a fuck what you know anymore, dude.
Yeah,
like 38 years ago or something.
Like, this ain't the 80s.
Yeah. I like their attitude, and the Ed Harris's character, I keep on forgetting his name. Sean he's so old school. He's so fucking old school in his mob ways that he killed the guy that was with his son because he didn't back him up, and he stabbed him with a fucking switchblade, dude.
Yeah,
with an ivory handle switchblade. That shit's old school.
I felt
dude.
that.
Yeah. That's some like disrespectful shit to the family. You don't do that, you know.
I like how I don't know if you guys caught it at the end when they're in the train tracks with Jimmy. Basically, the conclusion between Jimmy and Sean and Ed Harris's character is like, oh, you remember when we were kids? We used to watch those guys coming out of the country club, but you remember how bad we wanted to be them? And then you hear Jimmy's like, I didn't want to be them. He's like, I just wanted to be like you.
Yeah,
it's like it's like he idolized them. So
I like that connection between them because they were like pretty much brothers. Like they were brothers. I felt like that story that could have been like a prequel, a really good prequel backstory.
Yeah,
those two guys, you know.
And I think that just shows the acting chops on those two guys, because you do feel, now that I'm thinking about it, you do feel more for those two guys than you do. I mean, not to take away from Mike's, family drama and stuff like that, but you do feel more, and I wonder if that is because they're such seasoned actors, and you kind of you feel for it more.
Yeah, like right before he died, and he's holding him, and he kind of like pats his head and like dies.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, man, that's fucked up.
Yeah,
but he killed him. Like he knew what he had to do. Like it was either kill or be killed.
Yeah.
And you can't kill Jimmy the Gravedigger unless you're a fucking unless you're common.
I really like in the beginning too, when it shows it's the beginning of the movie, but it's really the end, and it's everything from slow motion or being paused and stuff. And you hear Jimmy, he's like, when you're about to die, you're supposed to see everything, like
your life flash before your eyes.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, that's bullshit. You see all your regrets. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. Like, that makes more sense than seeing, than everything else you would see.
I did like the fact that they showed that first, and then they did a 16 hours before, because for the better half of pretty much all of the movie is filmed at night, and I do like that nightlife, the way they show New York. There's a couple cutscenes where they show actual New York and footage of people walking by and Times Square and stuff. I like that type of Blade Runner-esque where there's a lot of
it's all shiny.
Yeah, nighttime architecture where there's lights, stuff like that. So I seeing it and then knowing that the end of the movie is going to come in the morning, you're kind of pacing yourself to the climax.
You already know where this is kind of ending or around where.
Correct. Yeah, you kind of know where it's going to end up, pretty much. Mm-hmm. Hey, Wes.
Yeah.
What was your favorite part, man? You're kind of quiet over there, bro.
I was just gonna say I really like the kind of that moment where everything spirals out of control, and then how when Jimmy realizes that they're coming after his son, he has to go warn him, and then I love the the relationship between Joel Kinnaman and Liam Neeson, how they're constantly fighting with each other, and Joel doesn't want to let him in. He doesn't accept him as a father, and he makes that very apparent up until the end, and that's why the end is I feel like you feel like more the film is more accomplished with that small detail. I think, at least coming from a background where not having a father in a similar way, it's it kind of resonates a lot, in the realism of that, I guess.
I get you. I was really cringy and nail biting when Common showed up at the lake house and he was walking towards the family when they're on the pier.
Yeah,
and just knowing that in the beginning of the movie you see them in the forest, so you kind of know shit's gonna go down, and this is kind of the climax.
Yeah,
I was like, yo, Common's gonna go over there, shoot all them fools down.
What was sick about Common in that little scene was how he used how he took bullet wounds and used that for the acting. He would literally have to reload with his legs.
That was sick. Yeah, the cool little piece he added.
That was cool.
What was very thrillery is when freaking Mike was behind the tree and ran out of ammo. I was like, fuck, dude, he's done for, dude. There's no way. But then also Common ran out of bullets and he took that chance to run, dude. That was pretty epic.
I like the fact that Common says to him, because he only says maybe 5 or 6 lines in the whole movie. Where he walks up to him and he's like, "You should have shot me when you had the chance." And I was like, "Oh man, that was a pretty line."
And Jimmy got him. That's what you should have done, huh?
Yeah, I said that. I'm all, dude, he should have killed him a long time ago. But I think the reason why is because Jimmy didn't want his son to go down that same path that he did. If anything, what Jimmy should have did was take the gun from his son and shoot him himself, because he knew if he didn't shoot him there, he was a hitman. He was a fucking killer. And he even told him he's not gonna stop until he kills us.
Yeah.
So I don't understand if theoretically my son had a fucking gun to a hitman's head, I would take the gun from him and shoot him myself. What the fuck, dude?
Yeah, but think about this. Maybe this is a plot hole or maybe not. But if Jimmy had already executed Sean's entire crew, who's gonna pay Common's character? There's nobody to pay him anymore. The hit is done with. He had no, it was more oh, you got, like, I'm going to settle this beef on my own. You know what I mean? Still.
Oh, yeah. I see what you're saying.
It was more personal, but it was like he let him go thinking like, oh, this is done. Like, I'm going to kill Sean and everyone, and he's not going to come back. And that's like the twist at the end of the movie, because you think the climax is, oh, like, I got to meet like his daughters finally. They're kind of accepting me, and then bam, fucking Common shows up out of nowhere, you know?
That's what I was telling Oneris the whole time. I'm like, yo, where's Common at? Like, they did the Harvey Dent to that fool's face and they burned half of it. So he didn't die, dude. So where is he? And then he shows up and he's shooting through the front door. I was like, yeah, that's Common. That's Common right there.
I think not only they didn't shoot him because of Mike, but they didn't want to leave evidence in that hotel while the cops were searching through it that they just were killing fools, because they didn't have too much. They didn't have too much evidence on Jimmy, like on surveillance or anything that he shot anyone. So he was still in the clear, even though he admitted that he basically could get his son Mike out clean.
Yeah, that's also true. Maybe he wanted to keep that guy alive as proof. He wanted to keep Common alive as proof, like, hey, they are after me. They are trying to kill me, and this is the hitman. So, I don't know. I still would have shot him, though, because he fucking... what the fuck?
If you see a Terminator running at you, you're going to just try to blast on him.
Yeah, especially if... given the history that Jimmy knows about Andrew Price, because they were both contracted killer hitmen, like, he gives them a description. So, I mean, he kind of says it. Common said it at the end. You should have killed me when you had the chance. That's like a timeless fucking line. You should have shot me when you had the chance.
Right.
It goes needless to say that guy is my favorite character in the movie.
Common?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, like we said it before when we did the John Wick episode, Common is like a scene stealer. Like he has a presence. His acting chops weren't so so great in this one, but he definitely steals the scenes.
Yeah, he's very charismatic, dude. He's very bright.
Well, what would you guys rate this if you had to?
Ooh. 8. Solid.
Yeah, I'd
say 7.5.
Hell. I'll lean between a 7 and an 8 because of the typecasting, but the way it looked personally was nice, dude. Like, I would give that a 10 itself, dude. Like, it was really good visually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just
story wise, it picked different parts of different movies and threw it in this one.
Yeah, it took a formula from a couple different films. What about you, Wes?
Would we know if this was original, all written, or it's just a book or something? What?
No, it is written by someone. It's an original screenplay.
What would you rate this film, Wesley?
I agree. I would say 7.5, solid.
Nice.
But yeah. I'll disagree with the. I don't think Liam Neeson was typecast. I think that this is a movie that kind of where he shines, as in his showing his range. You know what I mean? Because he's not the healthy fucking just I'm a badass old dude. I feel like he was Jason Statham in a lot of these films where he was typecast, and then this is him doing something different. You know, yeah, he's a hitman, but he's also broken, and there's a lot of layers to pull back within his character that you see throughout the film, in my opinion.
I'd have to agree, and that's the unfortunate thing that we all kind of fall back on is when we hear that Liam Neeson is doing another revenge type film or a killing for his family film, we automatically turn it back to Taken. But I don't know, like you said, we all kind of agree that this movie was kind of thrown under and shuffled under all the rest of his movies, and it's a good, dude. I feel like it's really good. The way it's filmed is really well, and even the story, like, I really like that old school mobster chemistry he had with Ed Harris, you know?
Yeah.